What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. Sometimes more than daily. It's just how it happens. It's Thursday, October 14th, maybe Friday, October 15th, depending on when you are listening. This is the Buccaneers-Eagles recap. A game that surprisingly, for many, went under, and the Eagles managed to cover as the Buccaneers won 28-22 in the link. Jalen Hurts, not great. Tom Brady, pretty great. We'll recap it all on this live show, and we'll be giving away a Brinson Sucks t-shirt hat on the live show to someone in the chat, is my understanding from Debo. Joining me to break this all down,
What's
Brian Wilson
hat?
and John Breech. What's up, boys?
Hey. What'd you ask, Debo?
What's a t-shirt hat?
Half t-shirt, half hat.
Did I see t-shirt hat?
I thought so.
I heard that.
Brinson Sucks hat.
I'm a little drunk, but
A t-shirt hat.
Brinson is cut off on Thursdays.
Yeah, well, if you're watching on YouTube.com,
last Thursday.
you can see the Brinson Sucks hat as displayed.
I know what happened last Thursday. I went out to
John
dinner before.
I'm holding it over my face so you can see the hat, but not my face.
I'm waiting for
most
Debo
people
to
would
give me a
prefer it.
picture so I can tweet out the picture so we can give this away in chat.
By the way, in future court proceedings, Breach, they're not going to blur out your face. They're going to put a Brinson Sucks hat over your face so you don't know who you are when you're testifying in like a
Even
mafia
better.
case.
Wilson, just out of curiosity, on a scale of 1 to 10, how mad are you that in the game, your first game after you've been hyped up as somebody who was 54-23 against the spread, you lost the first game in week 6.
The best on the internet, according to some website, in terms against the
it's
spread.
100% the best on the internet.
And look,
There's no way anybody's doing better than that against the spread.
Now,
I'll
let me
give
just
you
say
guys-
this.
Go ahead. Breach.
Brinson is trolling Wilson, even though
Yes.
Brinson is 17 games behind Wilson. 17 games through 5 weeks and 1 game of week 6.
Breach, I'll let you in on a secret in terms of my betting strategies. You guys are too young for what's happening, but there's an episode in What's Happening where Dwayne is crushing it as a bettor, and what it came down to, he just picked the best looking helmets. My strategy isn't far off from that. We get our email from the editor on Tuesday about the lines. I make my picks on Tuesday. It takes me about 2 minutes, and I never look back. I made one change all season. So this has been sheer and unadulterated luck. That said, if you fall ass backwards into a pile of success, you're like, oh, let's see how far I can take this. So as I told Debo a few moments ago, Nick Sirianni, what are you doing going for 2 in the end zone? You've been coaching horribly. There is no Eagles fan that likes Nick Sirianni, and then out of nowhere he does that to cut the.
Are you serious? The Carnegie Mellon grad who always advocates for the advanced analytics stuff is mad that Nick Sirianni went for 2 because it cost you a cover on something you didn't even bet on.
No, I'm mad. I understand the math, but he hasn't done that all season. So it's like he's out of context for him. And he just sort of woke up and said, hey, let me see what happens here. And to Jalen Hurts' credit, he made a fantastic throw.
And I think Wilson's point, Brinson, is that Sirianni's other analytical decisions in this game did not indicate that he was going to make the correct analytical decision in that situation.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder, was the 4th down punt? That was before halftime, right?
Yeah. This is the first half.
Do you think there's a chance that Jeff Lurie sent somebody down to let Nick Sirianni know that he needs to start listening to the analytical group?
I would have hoped he would have that conversation before week 6.
One would think so.
Well, we'll bounce around a little bit, but Eagles were down 28-14 and then kicked the field goal down 28-14. What's the math say there? That was in the fourth quarter.
Says go for it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't. I don't think you're supposed to. I don't know what the math is.
Well, it was 4th and 10. It wasn't
10.
like 4th and 3 or 4th. It was 4th and 10. So it's a little dicier there.
Could have easily been a kick situation where the kick is like 70%. I mean, I'm spitballing numbers here, but like the kick is 75% and the conversion is like 35%, at which point you take the 3 points if you can get them, except that nasty little 25% hanging out there and you miss the kick. And that stings. All right. So just to kind of dive back into this game look, it felt like, this is a backdoor cover by the Eagles because it felt like Tampa pretty much dominated the game.
Let me give you one stat before you go on. Time of possession, 39 minutes and 56 seconds to 20 minutes, 4 seconds.
That's incredible, Troy Aikman. But Yeah, but they did. They dominated the game. They ran the ball at will. 27 first downs for the Bucs to 16 for the Eagles, and it was worse at halftime. Eagles had 5 first downs at halftime. The Eagles finished with 213 total yards. I think it was like 55 at half. Bucs had 399. Bucs averaged 5.5 per play. Eagles averaged 4.5, and that went up again in the second half, largely thanks to this super bizarre drive that resulted in them getting to 22, where they ran the ball. So the Bucs went for it on 4th down, and then the Eagles ran the ball 4 times for 50 yards because the Bucs were basically dropping back and saying, "We dare you to run it right now, and let's see what happens." And it worked out. So, I mean, on the first couple of drives, I thought Tom Brady looked as sharp as, I don't know, a 25-year-old, 30-year-old Tom Brady, whatever you want to call. I mean, 10 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. The Eagles answered after the first drive with a 7-play, 75-yard drive with 40 yards of penalties of their own after the Bucs' first score, but it was largely aided by multiple lucky 3rd down conversions.
And they had one huge penalty on 2 of the touchdown drives, like 50-plus yards.
Yeah.
I
mean,
penalties.
Tampa, this is why gambling on the NFL is hard. Tampa completely dominated this game. And
they were up 28-7. It's 7 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. You're like, oh, this
still got a missed field goal somewhere in there, and the Bucs and the Eagles still covered. That's why gambling on the NFL is hard.
That's why you bet the money line.
No, but you didn't bet the Eagles. The Bucs.
What was the money line at the start of the game?
Negative 300.
Negative? Did you say negative 300?
What I said.
Get out of here.
You sound like Joe. You sound like Joe Buck on the. And look, Buck does a great job. I love Joe Buck. I think he's a good broadcaster. But like when he talks about gambling on the broadcast, he's like, now these next 2.5 minutes, Troy, could be a thing for some people. He's like, just don't do it if you can't do it. Don't do it.
Breech bragged about making 33 cents on the money line.
He bet.
Hey,
really
profit's profit. Profit is profit.
There's no way you bet on the money line.
No, this is Breech's special. He bets like $5 on minus 300 money line.
Put $100 on the money line. It pays out 33.
You did not bet $100 on the money line.
No way.
Oh, you risked $100.
What's the difference?
Well, if you risk, if you want to win $100, you have to risk 300, and you're sweating that game pretty hard.
Oh, right, yeah. He just said he bet 100. He didn't bet 300.
That's
the money line pays out. That's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't have bet $100 on the game. Breech stinking and ducking him his way to $1 million.
Minus EVing his way to $1 billion.
I tried to hop in there at halftime because I had not a good feeling, but just an optimistic feeling, as I typically do, to bet the Eagles money line. But my local, as Brinson calls it, just absolutely sucks and didn't even have it listed.
I mean,
the guy was passed out drunk because he knew the game was over.
I made so much on the Bucs money line.
He's got Debo on the phone. Hey, can I bet the Eagles down
$100 on plus 2,000?
Debo, what were your? Just sort of early game thoughts, because I think it's a misleading score, right? The Eagles got their ass kicked in this game. Somehow stayed in it.
They got their ass kicked last week for part of the game and still came out a winner in that one. They had a chance in this one, if not for, we can get to it as well. The taunting penalty, probably fair the way that they've called it this year, but maybe Jalen Hurts gets a final drive and some miracle happens there. So I appreciate that they don't quit. I knew that they want to quit. I think that's the one kind of like saving grace with Nick Sirianni's team. He can't play call. I don't like the coach. But I still, the schedule opens up. I still think they win 7-8 games, even though they're not looking good through 3 quarters most of the time. Jalen Hurts has been bad through 3 quarters the past 2 weeks and has had pretty good fourth quarters the past 2 weeks, and that's even the case going back to the Chiefs game. He could play pretty poorly, but put together a really solid fourth quarter, which shows me something out of a quarterback.
The Eagles' second quarter is outrageously terrible.
Poor. Their first 30 minutes was some
they had one drive in the first half that was it looked like this game is going to 80 points, way over the total. In the second quarter, the Eagles had, how is this possible? 5 drives and they ran a total of 15 plays. That is, if you don't turn the ball over, the stone cold men, and they actually did have a turnover somehow.
How many?
The pick, that awful pick on first down, which was
4 3 and outs.
I'm going to put that
an interception.
38 yards on 5 drives in the second quarter.
Well, you don't run the ball, and your quarterback isn't very good. That's what happens. I mean, sorry, Devo. To Devo's point, like he's into Jalen Hurts. I remain frustrated with Jalen Hurts. Like I do not like him right now as a quarterback. He may end up being great, but I get frustrated watching him because he holds the ball too long. He runs around. He takes unnecessary hits, and then he misses wide open guys. And you just can't. You can do that at Alabama and get away with it. You can do it at Oklahoma and get away with it. But the guy was 12 for 26 for 115 yards,
and he still almost managed 30 fantasy points, which is he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback every week,
thanks to 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm just saying that he's going to finish. The Eagles' schedule gets a lot easier going forward too. He might finish as a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and he's just maybe not that great.
Is there a player, probably a quarterback, who is just balls out fantasy wise, but ends up losing his job after a year or two just because he's not a good player? Like, is there a player like that?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Other than that, though,
I mean, like somebody before.
I'm trying to think, like who puts up points but just wasn't a good football player, or good enough to keep it. I'm not saying Jalen may end up being great. I'm just saying right now.
Trubisky he didn't lose his job after year 2, but Trubisky might qualify. He had some spike weeks, but he was never. Hurts is legitimately
Alex Smith.
Maybe,
but he played for 20 years.
I was thinking his last year before Mahomes took over, he was my quarterback. I remember him putting up huge numbers.
Oh, okay,
but he'd been there for like 5 years in case he had
Kaepernick with like a fantasy year or two where
Hurts is the only quarterback in fantasy leagues who has been top 10 every single week this season, and he's almost certainly going to be top 10 again this week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything Ryan said about his performance tonight. I just think it's a bigger issue with the guy on the sidelines. In a lot of cases, going back to last year and the previous quarterback, I just want my quarterbacks to have a chance. I'm all about them having this like proper evaluation period. If he sucks, then he sucks. But I want to give him a little bit of time and a chance to actually show something. And I don't think Nick Sirianni is giving that right now, based on his completely ignoring Miles Sanders. I'm just, like I said, I like giving a grace period to a coach, but Nick Sirianni has never called plays. It shows. Doesn't give the ball to the running back until the fourth quarter when they're backing off. 10 times tonight I thought about having Doug Peterson back. That's where I'm at.
Oh boy, dark
10
space.
times.
He also, you get major Matt Nagy vibes from Nick Sirianni too, where he didn't use. I mean, look, the Bucs. I don't know why I keep falling. I mean, I guess he covered, so whatever. But like, the Bucs defensive line is really good. You can negate their ability to get after your quarterback by using RPOs and read option. Like,
well, they did try that on the first few drives, and they shut it down.
I feel like they didn't really. Like,
Brinson, I agreed with like a lot of your tweets tonight.
About that one, okay.
I don't know. No, with that one, and I don't say that often when it comes to the Eagles. When it comes to the Eagles, I feel like we're differing a lot. But I agree with everything. They're just not putting him in a good spot. Use Devontae Smith. Get him involved in the game. He is a baller. He makes plays. Get him involved. Why does it take all this time? That blew my mind.
Even if we're not just. Like, they don't need to be vertical shots to Devontae Smith.
Oh.
Devontae Smith is one of the best young route runners in the NFL.
He's a $170, but he'll catch anything. It doesn't have to be all deep shots.
He got 4 targets tonight. That's crazy. Zach Ertz had 6 targets. Zach Ertz had 6 targets, 4 catches, 29 yards. He is a crusty old like toaster strudel. That dude is baked, man. It's over. They kept trying to feed Jalen Reagor 3 targets, no catches. Reagor looks awful.
Well, he had either 1 or 2 of the PIs.
He did have 2 of the PIs, but I mean, he doesn't look.
And that was 95 yards in PIs. And the only reason this game was close is because Philadelphia scored their only 2 scoring drives before the crazy thing in the fourth quarter came on the 45-yard PI in the first half and then the 50-yard PI in the second half. And all of a sudden, it's 28-14.
And this is after Richard Sherman went out with a hamstring injury, so they're down to cornerback number 43.
D. Delaney. That guy. Like, what are we doing? I'll just put this out there. Hurts' pick. poor throw. Quez Watkins, just awful attempt at the ball, completely whiffed, mistimed his jump. Like bad throw, can call it an arm punt, but you got to get help from your receivers.
Yeah, I mean, he threw so far inside. He just had, there was one where Devontae Smith is just swatting at the ball to knock it down because he threw.
And that came right after the very, very questionable long review of the Brady interception. That was a pick, right?
That was BS. That was a pick.
Why are we, a couple things. Debo mentioned the taunting call on Jernard Avery, which was BS. Can we stop with the taunting? I don't understand why we're worried about taunting. No one cares. It's not, like I say all the time, you're not working at a bank. You're not dunking on someone for signing the check wrong.
Also, as I put out on Twitter, you're worried about the players talking on the field and taunting. If you got a problem with it, then release Bruce Allen's emails.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because here's what I think you do if you're D. Smith. There's probably more important things at the top of the to-do list, but this is one of the things that came to mind while I was watching all this nonsense on Thursday night. You have sort of a quid pro quo where say, listen, these are the rules we want. We want them enforced. Keep the friggin' emails. We don't care. Taunting's off the board. Terrible official. If the officials mess up, they have to line up in the end zone. And you can fire footballs at them until they get it right. You have all sorts of rules where people can vote on it. All sorts of things where we can clean up the game. If it takes more, Breech's tweet. If it takes more than 2 minutes to do a review, the original call stands. We don't have all night to watch you stand and look at a monitor. You don't know what you're doing. Enough.
Well, that was the thing here. If you didn't see it, you go back and watch this interception. Brady's pass got deflected, and the ball was so close to the ground you couldn't tell, but it was ruled interception on the field, and this was like 10 minutes. It was like a 10-minute review. I mean, this took, because they went to commercial.
Saturation. Yeah.
And there was some weird thing where they kept talking about the expedited review, or like,
well, they went to commercial. They came back from commercial, and the review kept going, and it just it would not end. It really might have been 10 minutes. It was 7 minutes at least. And so it just kept, and it's like, if it's going on forever, that means you don't know what it is, and you stick with the call on the field. There's no debate here.
Yep.
And you know what? It was 14-7 at that point. And if that interception counts, if it doesn't get overturned, the Eagles have the ball at midfield. So the only time they could move the ball was, you have a chance to tie the game. So,
and by the way, Breech, they one of the things that Joe Buck sort of sardonically mentioned was that, they're probably trying to find the time and the down and distance. And then 2 seconds later, the spotter tells Joe Buck the down and the time when this play happened. I don't know what you're doing. Stop it. You guys are doing terribly.
And there's no, it's either the clock stopped because either it's an interception or an incomplete pass. So it's not like there's a lot of clock to figure out.
By the way, just have someone in the NFL offices with a friggin' TiVo, rewind it and see where the play started, and just tell the guy that. We haven't even talked about the Quez Watkins. He had 2 feet in. They had to throw a challenge back. No,
there's flying up every which way. It's like very obvious.
No expedition of that call. He had to throw it. What are we doing?
Hey, but meanwhile, this guy's just swooping in. He's like, did somebody say the MFer to Leonard Fournette? We can't have that on the field.
By the way, it's
horrendous, man.
Let the players police themselves, because Leonard Fournette got up and pointed at him and just made it a clown point.
And I have no issue with this, but like every time AB catches the ball, like that could fall under the taunting rule. Like, go ahead, do it, AB. But like, like you said,
Jalen Hurts hit he's running into the end zone for that first touchdown. I don't know who the defender was, but I think it was a Bucs linebacker. He hits him in the belly, and maybe it was friendly, maybe it wasn't taunting, but it's like it's just like the DPI rules. It's just like everything with this stupid league and these stupid officials and Al Riveron and his margarita and his bathrobe. No consistency. If you want to call taunting, then call taunting. Police it.
The thing is, according to the rules, Antonio Brown's not talking to anyone, so he can do all the dance moves he wants.
Right, he can like turn and like percolate, whatever he wants, or twerk, or
percolate. Is that a thing, Debo?
Percolator? That's the thing.
I don't know.
Be careful.
It's coffee talk. All right, what else?
Why don't we take a break? When we come back, we will discuss the winning team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as well as what this game means for the long term of both squads.
Oh boy, be careful indeed, Brinson.
I didn't know there's going to be
no, that's
rolling. My fault. The percolate means to move around wildly.
Sort of, apparently. If you check Slack, it'll tell you exactly what it means.
I mean, percolate is just a verb, Ryan.
I use it for coffee. What else we got?
Wait, you use it for coffee?
Percolator, dum-dum.
Oh, that's not what percolate means, man.
You seem to know. Go for it.
Okay. Well, maybe the kids know. I don't know. Anyway, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looks pretty sharp in this game. Leonard Fournette, 22 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 46 yards. OJ Howard was a factor, 6 catches, 49 yards, 1 touchdown. Antonio Brown was a monster. Actually left with an injury, but came back, 9 catches, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. And Tom Brady, I don't know how the hell he didn't go over his total yards.
I had 301.5. You got the 297.
Yep.
Dang it.
It got, by the way, it got all the way up to 305.5.
It started at 295, so I'll assume I got it at 295.
Yep, that's what I would do if I were you. If the Eagles were more competitive, I think in all seriousness, if the game hadn't been 28-7, if it's 28-21, I think the game finishes like 35-31 or 35-28 or whatever it is. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers put that thing in third gear and slowed it down to try and get out of Dodge. There was actually a pretty decent amount of Ronald Jones in this game, and I think that was to ease back Leonard Fournette's wear and tear, as they knew that once we saw how they were aggressively using Leonard Fournette in both the pass and run game early on, it should have probably been apparent that the game wasn't going to be over if the Eagles didn't keep pace. But I mean, there's just a wealth of riches on this Tampa Bay team. I mean, it's dumb. Like they had.
I was actually thinking about this during the game. Would you rather have Tampa Bay's playmakers, quarterback included, or Kansas City?
That's a good question. And
I just take the whole offensive line.
So you get Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin,
get them all.
Mike Evans,
Gronk, Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, like Tyler Johnson,
Rojo,
Leonard Fournette.
Yep.
I'll take Tampa's.
Breech.
Probably Tampa.
Right?
And if you can only pick 2, you're going with Kansas City.
You know what's crazy about this game, though? And
hold on 1 second, Breech, before you go on. Okay, so who are the 2 you're taking from Kansas City? Because I want to counter.
Well, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Oh, no. I thought you meant Patrick Mahomes. Oh, 2 players. Okay, what about Antonio Brown and Mike Evans?
No, I'm still taking Hill and Kelce.
Antonio Brown is dangerous.
Antonio Brown looks like peak Antonio Brown.
He looks like 2013 Antonio Brown. Go ahead, Breech.
Except he slips every which way.
Needs longer cleats.
No, I was just going to say that this game really felt like, we talked about Tom Brady had such a fantastic first half, and Leonard Fournette really felt like the difference. Every time he got the ball, it looked like 6 Eagles would try to tackle him, and then he'd carry them 3 yards after contact. It was kind of insane. But it really felt like after halftime, maybe this is why it stayed close, was that the Buccaneers, they went into the halftime, Arians was like, guys, we're just going to run the ball, run out the clock, and go home because we're done here. We're up 21-7. Their offense looked horrible. Just don't interfere with them. Don't get called for pass interference, and we're going home. Because that's really what the Buccaneers did in the second half. Maybe that's why, because Brinson, you mentioned this whole time that it felt like a blowout. Like there's no reason this game should have been a 6-point game. Like anybody who bet the Eagles point spread should be thanking the football gods that they are cashing that ticket. Because, I mean, the Buccaneers just kind of put their tail between their legs, said, all right, there's no way this team's going to come back. So we're going to run the clock out in the second half.
So, I mean, they basically came out of half, and the Eagles got the ball first. Eagles run 3 plays for 4 yards and punt the ball. Buccaneer.
Debo reliving the misery.
That could be just any drive like most of the season. 3 plays, 4 yards.
Really rough stretch on the second and third quarters here. But
and real quick there, Brinson, if after the Brady interception right before the end of the first half, if the Eagles get just a field goal there, you're down 21-10, and you get the ball to start the second half. So they had the perfect chance to get back in the game. They just, Debo, I'm sorry, but they just blew it.
I mean, their drives after their first touchdown, between their first and second touchdowns, 7 yards, 5 yards, 15 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards. That is, the Buccaneers have no secondary. Like, just move Jalen Hurts around. Instead of every single play was Jalen Hurts takes 3 to 5 step drop somewhere, and then
3 to 5 to 15. I mean, let's be honest.
What's that?
3 to 5 to 15. He was
whatever it is. But he's like, oh no, I don't know where to go with this ball. And then he sprints right, and the Buccaneers are. I don't know, it was just like Todd Bowles outcoached Nick Sirianni. Surprise, surprise. But to Breech's point, that first drive for the Bucs, they get the ball at 13:28, in the third quarter. They are up at that point 14-7. They go 12 plays, 78 yards, 7 minutes, 41 seconds, punch it in for a touchdown, and it's 28-7. And the game, maybe not the spread, but the game is over at that point.
Correct. Everybody but Debo thought the game was over.
Debo was there live betting the Eagles.
That's not a dunk. I'm pretty sure.
Talking about coaching decisions, what did you think about Arians' 4th and 2, up 28-14? Probably could have punted it and pinned the Eagles, and then that allowed them to get back in it a little more, and then they score quickly, go for 2, kill Ryan's bet. But what about Arians there?
I was fine with it. The math, according to Ben Baldwin, was a toss-up. Go for it, win 98% of the time, punt it, win 98% of the time. So it was, it really didn't matter apparently. But I mean, look, you got Tom Brady. It was 2 yards, right? 4th and 2.
Yep.
It was on Philly's 46. I feel like if Bruce Arians punts it, this is where the problem with the analytics stuff comes into play. Is like if Bruce Arians punts it, people are like, oh, he's so scared to like go for it. But you go for it, people are like, oh, why don't you just punt, pen, let your defense play?
I think I would have punted there because if you get stopped, all of a sudden the Eagles have all this momentum, and it transpired like that where they go down and get the touchdown.
Breach. You have Tom Brady.
Here's why I'm punting, Ryan. I'm punting because the Eagles have done zilch the entire game. They're only 2 touchdowns. Exactly. Again, like we mentioned, we're off 2 long defensive pass interference. Your defense has shut them down the entire game. So you pin them inside the 10-yard line. They're not scoring.
I will say, just to Breech's point, the Devils
avocado.
Yeah. I would say to Breech's point, if Benson sucks or Brinson sucks in the chat. Somebody take this hat off my hands. Get more crap out of my house. Might throw in we'll throw in something. Some
Philip Riversdal. Go ahead.
I will not send that away. Anyway, if you punt, I do think there's a chance that the Eagles do the opposite of what they did when you went for it offensively, where they're like, oh, let's just run Miles Sanders out of shotgun over and over and see how this works. And they would have run 3 straight Jalen Hurts pass plays, and it might have been a pick 6 the other way for the Bucs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like, there's a better chance the game ends if you just punt it. Because
there's not. You have Tom Brady and all the weapons we just talked about.
I mean, we have to remember the Buccaneers don't care about covering.
Right. They just care about winning.
Right. You just want to get the win. So you knew when you go for it with what?
9 minutes.
9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, that was after Nick Sirianni kicked the field goal too.
And by the way, the field goal, Ryan, you mentioned the fourth down bot said it was a toss up with a slight lean towards the field goal being the correct choice.
Okay, there you
go. I mean, there were
fourth and 10 is Breech noted.
Debo, were there any egregious decisions by Sirianni that you would? I mean, like non-play calling, like decision making.
No, I think it all comes down to play calling. I said I really liked that 2-point conversion late in the game, both the call to go for it and the play
Peterson special.
Exactly. Probably I would put it up there as the top decision Sirianni has made through 6 games, which might say something, but nothing super egregious in this one. I think it's just putting your offense in a better position. And I know he's not going to do this because it's kind of like you're throwing in the towel in your first season, but if you give up the play calling to someone else, maybe that saves you a little bit, because I think this trajectory that we're headed, it doesn't bode well for his long-term future, like beyond season 1. And I say that even while thinking with this schedule softening up and the Eagles can rip off a string of victories. They got the Jets, the Lions. They still got 5 against the NFC East. I think they could put some wins together, but I just don't see fans coming away from this season happy and satisfied with Nick Sirianni as your coach of the future. So that's a huge concern for me.
Just to that point, the same thing with Arthur Smith. Like, I understand that you were I think teams make this mistake a lot where they decide to hire this hot young offensive coordinator. Oh, he's going to come in and run his offense for our team. But you're being promoted from OC to head coach, which involves, I don't know, 100 different jobs that are added to your plate that you have to deal with. And you're also supposed to call plays on the sideline.
be able to do the head coaching responsibilities, but as Aikman brought up on the broad, like he has never called plays. It's just
at least Arthur Smith has called plays, right? Nick Sirianni is
adding all those
called
plays, and then also have to call plays for the first time. That's a bad combination to me. I said, they shouldn't let Byron Leftwich leave the stadium tonight. Like that's a guy that I would love to have. They should have flew Joe Brady back with them last week. Like those are guys that I would like to have. And
you're talking about for OC, not for head coach.
No, for head coach. Yeah, I'm done. Joe Brady. I'm done.
You're out. Yeah, I saw that tweet.
Done after 6 weeks.
Bring back Doug. Bring back Doug.
My goodness.
Oh, boy. # bring back Doug. This is getting dark.
Are we going to call him Doug?
Yeah, of course. What else will we call him?
Yeah, that's what we're Eagles fans. That's what Eagles fans.
Are we going to bring this debate back? I thought with him out of the league this year.
So the Eagles coming up next week in the late window.
Hey, quickly,
10-day break, obviously.
Before you move on, as Debo was talking, I mean, if Debo's given up on something, that's a wrap, especially after a month and a half. So let's through 5 weeks.
Syria, no, I had something, but it died. Go ahead.
Through 5 weeks, let's rank the rookie head coaches, and I'll give you the list of who they are: Arthur Smith, Dan Campbell, David Culley, Urban Meyer, Brandon Staley, Robert Saleh, Nick Sirianni.
I think I can safely say that our number one choice is Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley's number one.
Weak class. I thought about this.
Debo, would you? I mean this in all seriousness. Would you?
Yes.
No.
I know what you're going to say.
What was
Urban Meyer?
No, I thought you were going to say.
I was going to say, would you cut off a toe to trade Brandon Staley for Nick Sirianni?
Okay, not what either of us were thinking.
Okay, what were you thinking?
No, last weekend after even the win over the Panthers, or even the middle of the game, I started making these rookie coach rankings.
Oh, okay,
I had Dan Campbell in like the number 2 spot.
Are you saying? You thought I was going to ask, would you take Dan Campbell over Sirianni?
Right. I thought you were going to say Campbell or
no. I mean, if I were an Eagles fan, I would probably at least consider a pinky toe for.
Okay, so Brandon Staley number 1, Debo, Dan Campbell number 2 on your list. Who's number 3?
Use your pinky toes.
Yeah, you do need your pinky toes. Who's number 3, Debo?
I think is
it David Culley? Would you call it 3?
Probably. It's just a solid grouping, but like the benefits and what people are complimenting Campbell and Culley for are, their team doesn't show any quit. The Eagles are a little bit more talented, but I can say the same thing about them because they didn't quit in the Chiefs game. They didn't quit tonight. They put up a little bit of an effort versus the Cowboys, talking about their losses so far. So that is a trait of this team I think they have, even though the play calling is absolutely not there. But I think there's a grouping of Meyer, Salah, Smith, Sirianni.
Ooh, I think so. I mean, the thing with Culley and Campbell too, you got to remember they are playing with the deck is. They have one win between them, right?
But their rosters are considerably worse than every other roster.
Right. But you're basically giving out a participation trophy. Congratulations for making guys hustle and try hard.
No. I mean, as Breech likes to talk about, they lost 2 games on 50-yard field goals at the buzzer, including the Ravens.
For sure.
What about Arthur Smith? He has play calling experience, Debo. Would you rather have him or Nick Sirianni?
Arthur Smith has been awful.
I got a real good glimpse of him in week 1 where Sirianni outcoached him, so that might shade my opinion.
Well, Matt Ryan in that offense has been a lot better the last 3 weeks. I will say that.
All right, the ultimate question then: Nick Sirianni or Urban Meyer?
You hesitated?
No, I'm taking Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Nick, there it is. He's Nick now.
So Nick is however many coaches. He's next to last.
Urban is last.
Right.
How many are there total? 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. So Urban's 7 easily.
Is Sirianni 6? Robert Saleh is there. Arthur Smith is there. Arthur Smith lost to the Eagles, as Debo noted.
I would probably go Urban 7, Sirianni 6, Arthur Smith 5,
Saleh.
Yeah, I kind of like Saleh.
I like them, but they're not great.
Their roster sucks too.
Correct.
He's not getting the same credit the Lions and Texans are getting. I'd actually go Saleh too. If I were taking, are we talking about the job they're doing or whether we would want them?
You want them to coach the Eagles?
Oh, then Saleh's 2 for me.
Okay.
I would rather have Saleh than Culley or Dan Campbell for sure.
I'm cool with that. I mean, it's Staley and then everybody else that are pretty great.
Staley,
and then it's Staley, 5 guys, and then Urban way down the list.
I think that's right.
List. Yeah.
I love that Debo made that list last week.
I have it on the notes app on my phone.
Oh, you should have quote tweeted the girl who asked, "What do men write on their notes?"
Yeah, he wrote it down. He was serious.
Did you see that? It was like, "What do men write in their notes app?" I was like, "What do I write?" I'm scared to look.
That's right below the Carson Wentz season stat line.
I know. I was thinking about this right before the podcast. If you could turn back, back time,
yikes!
Who would you take, Devo?
I'm
Carson Wentz.
I'm a stubborn person. I don't like admitting when I was wrong. I was wrong because I thought they would bring back Wentz and Peterson and thought that they deserved to be back. But a fresh start was good for Carson.
So you would still take Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, Carson Wentz is a better quarterback, but
right now, yes, but he also puts you in kind of purgatory, I think.
Yeah, and getting rid of that contract, and we can get into the picks like this. Every time the Eagles lose, it kind of looks better for 3 picks in the top 10. Ryan, can we get 2 linebackers in the top 10? Can we?
I can give you 2.
Why'd you do that?
I'll give you 2.
We need them. We need them.
I need 2 linebackers in the top 10.
Well, I get yelled at all the time by Eagles fans. We don't take linebackers in the first round. Well, maybe you need them, to Debo's point. As we sit here right now, Debo, actually, before the game, the Eagles had the 5th, the 6th, and the 10th picks. That'll change. I got to update the Tankathon right
now. They're going to trade them all away for Deshaun Watson. Sorry,
right.
Debo.
That's currently 5, 6, and 8.
5, 6, and 8. There it
according
is.
According to tankathon.com.
Let me update that real quick.
Quick. It's fair to talk about Watson. It's fair to talk about targeting a quarterback in one of those spots. I would like to wait until like week 12, week 13, but I understand why those conversations would happen.
It's very obvious.
Yeah, I understand how weak this quarterback class could turn out to be.
I don't enjoy taunting Debo as much about the Eagles as I do
No, because he's sincere and you feel like a jerk.
Yes, correct. Yeah, exactly. I feel like
just wait, Debo. He'll turn on you.
Give me a like in the chat. On the video,
begging for likes.
I'm sad as hell, even though we lost.
Please throw me a like.
Even though we come against the defending world champs, I'm still feeling down.
The old pity likes.
Help me, help you.
Yeah, pretty much everybody. I mean, just look at people thought Tampa Bay was going to roll.
You were about to read their schedule, Will.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I was looking at the Eagles.
Sorry,
the Raiders come at a good time, and then, like I said,
there are. Oh, this is kind of interesting, actually. So the next 6 games for the Eagles, who are now, they are 1, 2, and 3. Excuse me. No, right? 2.
Yeah.
2 and 4. 2 and 4.
2 and 4. Sorry, NFL Jesus did not update for me for some reason. So they're 2 and 4. Their next 6 games at the Raiders next weekend, which would be very interesting because if the Raiders are. So obviously the Gruden stuff happened in Las Vegas. If the Raiders come out and keep it close with Denver and play this like crazy emotional, like, hey, we're rallying together, which I don't think is the outcome, but is entirely possible.
I got him covering.
Oh, I love my Broncos best bet now, baby. If that happens, then the Raiders are going to, with the Eagles off with 10 days rest, the Raiders are going to be due for a massive emotional letdown. So that game is very winnable for the Eagles, I think, on the road against Oakland. Oh, now EA Sports, actually, I just saw a headline on local news. EA Sports is going to remove Gruden from Madden. Wow.
Yeah, Tampa Bay kicked him out of the Ring of Honor or whatever they have down there, too.
And they're going to put Brinson in. He's going to be Coach Brinson of the Raiders.
It'll be like Coach Chuck Lobjack or something. Like Bill Belichick's alter ego on there. It's like.
I mean, he's wearing a Brinson sucks hat that you can win.
Probably.
If you
After that Raiders game, they play the Lions on the road on Halloween, which is a game that you expect to win. But if you want to tank, you're fine with losing. Chargers at home the following week, at the Broncos November 14th, Saints at home November 21st, and Giants on the road November 28th. So where do we think the Eagles, who are 2 and 4, are after that stretch? I see optimistically 3 and 3 in there. Pessimistically is like 1 and 5.
You should have added that 7th game.
Well, Google just shows the first 6. So is it Panthers or something? They already beat the
Jets.
At the Jets.
Then
2 straight games at MetLife Stadium.
Do you think they'll stay in New York instead of flying back to Philly?
I mean, like I said it after the Cowboys game. I don't think they're a great team, but I think they get to 7 or 8 wins because of the schedule.
So 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's not crazy.
Yeah, that's on the table.
right. I mean, you just don't know. Like the Raiders, who knows where their head's gonna be. The Lions are
the Saints have lost some stupid games this year and then looked good in some games.
I said the same thing last year, and they ended up with 4 wins. So
Saints are very difficult to figure out.
That's on the table too. But I'm curious to bring it back to the coach for a second. Like, you're not going to have a one and done coach if you win 7 or 8, right?
No, not if you win 7 or 8. Also worth considering is that Doug Peterson was trying to tear the team down from the inside last year when things went sideways. So it wasn't like they were all on the same page.
I don't know if I put that on old Doug.
No, I think by the end he's like, all right, fine. Let's set this match and see what happens. You think
I won't tank week 17, bro? I will. For the Buccaneers, home against the Bears next weekend, at the Saints, at Washington. Oh my goodness gracious! Tampa Bay is about to.
They're going undefeated, except they've already lost.
They've already lost one, so that would be impossible.
They can go undefeated in October and November and December and January.
Sugar puff. Oh boy.
Yeah, their toughest games remaining.
It's Bears at home, at Saints, Washington at home, Giants or Washington on the road, Giants at home, at Colts, at Falcons for the next 6.
They have one tough game left. If you excluding divisional games, the Saints I would imagine would be the toughest. It's the Bills in week 14.
Yeah, that's a hard game. And then maybe they lose week 18 to the Panthers because they sit everybody.
But
you sound like me, Brinson.
Other than the Saints and the Bills, every team on the schedule appears to have a losing record.
I mean, they lost to the Bears last year. I could see them surprisingly losing one of these games that's not don't include the Bills, but if you look at the other games, maybe they lose one of those.
Yeah, one. And
it feels like there's 2 losses max on the rest of the schedule.
And last year the losses all came in the first half of the season when Brady wasn't quite comfortable in whatever Arians wanted him to do, I feel like.
Well, it was weird because last year they lost a
lot of games early on,
but they lost to the Rams, the Saints, and the Bears, who all had good defenses. That's why I think that a lot of people felt like the Bucs would struggle in the playoffs because they were going to have to play potentially good defenses, and then their defense just stepped up.
Yeah, they were 7-5 after week 12, had the bye week, and then lose again until a couple weeks ago against the Rams.
I am suddenly feeling a lot better about my Tampa Bay, and the Panthers and Saints are only, I understand. Well, I guess they're 1.5 games back now because Tampa Bay's 5-1. Panthers and Saints are 3-2. But I'm feeling, I was saying the Bucs anywhere between -150 to. Why do you keep showing this hat that says Brinson sucks? Do you know how distracting that is?
I think he has it up there because he's picking his nose behind it, and he just wants to be able to shield the camera.
But I feel like the Bucs, the 2 big bets that I made on the divisions were Bills to win the East and Bucs to win the South in their respective conferences. And those feel pretty good right now. Da, 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 da.
Brinson sucks.
Da, 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 da.
Thank you for the comment, Andy. If you're listening, we're reading YouTube comments of people reminding us that Brinson does indeed suck.
Do you feel better about the Bills one or the Buccaneers one?
Both.
Bills feels very good.
Definitely Bills.
Yeah.
What Bills. Are you talking about? I said before the season that Blaine Gabbert could win this division with the Buccaneers. Are you guys worried about the Buccaneers not winning the division?
No. I said out of those 2 teams, out of those 2 bets that Brinson made, which one does he feel better about? You can only answer one of them.
The Bills are 4-1, and the Pats are in second place at 2-3. The Dolphins look awful. The Jets are clearly awful. I'm not. I think Tampa Bay's in good shape. Don't get me wrong. I love the bet, but it's 5-1 versus multiple 3-2s.
All right.
I don't think. Yeah. I mean, as Aaron Gates points out, if Tom Brady gets hurt or Josh Allen gets hurt, then take the L on the bet or pray
so they could win the division with Blaine Gabbert.
As I just said, Blaine Gabbert will roll in there and keep the train rolling.
Kyle Trask would play first, right?
No, he would not.
And if Josh Allen got hurt, Trubisky would go in and win the Super Bowl.
Actually, I feel better about the Bills because Trubisky is
an MVP. MVP.
In fact, not a MVP, Breech. The only MVP in the history of professional sports.
That's quite the honor if you think about it.
And I love that they put that. They put that up on his Pro Football Reference page, right?
It's a real award. They should have.
If I had an MVP, it'd be back there. I'd have it take with me everywhere.
Yeah, I would introduce myself. Hi, Will Brinson, MVP.
I'd shower
So
with.
did you say MVP? Yeah, that's right, buddy. MVP. Nickelodeon. Is it Nickelodeon Valuable Player?
That's why you'll never win it. You don't know what it's called.
Doesn't really make any sense. I mean, most is an adjective. Just most valuable is an adjective describing it now.
Debo passive aggressively putting forward the comments.
I'll show anything positive. If you want to say something positive in the chat, I will highlight that all night.
I am positive Brinson has hair plugs.
It's preposterous. His hair is all natural, baby.
All right. So
Wilson, give us your best bet for the weekend.
Oh, I was going to stretch it beyond that, Will, because we have a lot of people hanging out more than ever in the live stream.
Love it.
Oh, wow.
Ryan's hot. You can go to cbssports.com for his picks, but I feel like we got to get more than one. We got to get a couple.
Yeah, this week 6 is tough. I think you guys.
Here's what we'll do. I will. Do people like? So I've got this is like an actual NFL football from a Super Bowl. That's kind of a cool thing, right? Is that cool? I don't know.
Sure. I don't know what you're about to say next.
That is Super Bowl 28. If Wilson's going to give us his best bet, I'm going to give a different one because I think it was 28. 48. Excuse me. Wait, what Super Bowl is that? You're smart, Wilson.
That's Seahawks Pats.
That's Seahawks Pats. I can't give that one away.
You already offered it up.
I got 52. We'll give away up there.
Wilson, you are number one on pick watch too.
Yeah, dude, kidding. He's 31 games above 500. It's insane.
But he's only 2 games number one. He's only
Wilson. Oh, this is perfect because you know who makes this ball?
Yeah, me.
That's right, baby. The Duke, Wilson. We're going to give this one away if Wilson's best bet against the spread for this weekend games wins. And if it loses, no giveaway. And we'll run it back next weekend.
He just needs one pick to hit. That's it.
He picks his best bet, his favorite bet.
It's a tough week too.
Now,
it's a tough week.
It's worth pointing out that on HQ a couple of days ago, Wilson picked. He said the Texans were his best bet.
I was going to go with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs have not been doing well covering this year, and they're not playing well. The Texans, I've been saying it all year, play hard. Last week they should have beaten the Patriots in a double-digit spread situation, and they certainly covered that. They're playing the Colts this week. It is in Indianapolis. Breech, what's the history of Colts Texans? You seem to know that.
Here's a twist. Number one is me. All 3 of us picked the Texans to cover. I was this close. Wilson, I'm just saying it's a coincidence.
No, I'm talking about Brinson yelling at me about liking the pick, and he made the same pick. Go ahead.
So all 3 of us picked him to cover. I literally was on the fence writing my picks Monday night of having the Texans upset the Colts because of everything crazy that happened Monday, and then backed off and just had them cover. So it's crazy that you just picked that game. But that being said,
this is Seahawks Broncos. Actually, it says
the Colts have won 5 of 6 games.
Okay, so
and that's with Deshaun playing.
Right, Deshaun. That's impressive. Andrew Luck.
Actually, we can give away the Super Bowl too because Breech just said he loves the Texans as well. And this was Breech's first Super Bowl with CBS because remember, this game was in New York and Breech showed up with a backpack full of liquor to meet us at a company dinner.
Backpack full of Jack Daniels. I was off the clock.
I wouldn't
even know. There are a lot of tough games. We've talked about this week. I'm leaning towards that one. I love the Monday night game, but I don't know if Monday night counts. Like I love the Bills to steamrolling the Titans at 5.5.
You can pick any game of the slate remaining.
That game scares me because Tennessee beat them like 42 to something.
On a Tuesday, though. Remember, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah, this is a Monday. It's a weekday. It's all about the weekday.
No,
have you ever been in Nashville on a Monday? Things get crazy.
No, they beat them because they were preparing for the Chiefs, and the NFL was like, "You have to play the Titans now." So here's what we'll do: we'll give the game away. Like, I don't know how we're picking out who's eligible. We'll give the ball away on the Monday night recap chat show.
All right, I'm sticking with Houston because that'll make the game more interesting because you want Houston to be competitive. They're a terrible football team. Like last week, I enjoyed watching that game.
Is that a 1:00 game?
It is, in fact, a 1:00 game on CBS. I hope maybe Kevin Harlan's calling the game.
They're going to put the Texans at 4:00. That would be preposterous.
I hope for Kevin Harlan's sake, he's not calling that game.
So, Benson, this is how.
That was a crazy
pay attention. Pay attention. Go ahead, Debo.
This is how we'll give away the football. You have to be subscribed to the Pick 6 channel.
Correct.
You have to smash the like button on this video and you have to be one of the people commenting Wilson in the chat right now. I can go back. I can look at all these things. That is how the winner will be determined.
Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this show.
The Texans, by the way, are 9.5 point underdogs. Is that the most someone's ever been an underdog to a 1-4 team? That's
the other thing. Like they've been. I think they were 13.5 point underdogs to. I can't remember who they played earlier this year. A much better. The Browns, I believe. That game was close as well. So I like this game.
I just can't wait until it's like Texans are down 7 and Colts have the ball. It's like first and 10 at the Texans.
Well, I'm not getting anything out of this either way.
And you're like, all right, it's like 3rd and 3 at the Texans 35. Texans have 2 timeouts left, and you're like, okay, just get one stop here, and we get this. Maybe it's like Texans 42 or something.
The Texans are 3-2.
And it's just Jonathan Taylor's through the hole, and he's just sprinting into the end zone.
You don't even need that, Brinson. You need, if the Colts are up 7 and they want to kick a field goal to ice the game.
If Jonathan Taylor jailbreaks an unnecessary touchdown to go up 14-0, it would be or go up 14 points, excuse me.
You realize that I'm not winning the football. It's not for me.
Yeah, but you would be breaking our fans' hearts with your mistake.
It's not a mistake. It's a 50-50 proposition.
I can't believe the Texans are your favorite pick of the week. A 1-4 Houston Texans team.
What's your favorite pick?
Mine or Breech's?
Either. Yeah, got nothing.
Probably Packers. Probably the Packers or the Steelers.
Oh, the Steelers. You guys.
I like the Steelers too.
You know what?
Geno Smith.
I would say that the Packers, the Cowboys. I was just taunting you. I don't think the Steelers.
I think my best bets were Detroit. I like Detroit. I'm definitely going to do a Detroit Patriots.
You're going to lose both of those.
No, I'm going to do a money line parlay with Jacksonville, Detroit, Patriots money line parlay.
I like the Jags to cover. Jags could win that game, even though Breech has been saying for weeks.
Anything happens at those London games.
Breech was saying for weeks, but I don't want to give him that satisfaction.
Yeah, so I
actually picked him to win.
The only home dog I didn't back this week against the spread was Tennessee. I just think Buffalo, like the DVOA for Buffalo's defense by DVOA is -40 something, and the next closest defense is Carolina at -16. Buffalo is just the best team in football by a wide margin.
And Brinson, I'm giving a little teaser. Bottom of the screen right now is Chris and RJ's. We renamed it to the Won't Hit Parlay, so check out the full Best Bets episode dropping on Friday. But bottom of the screen right now is their Won't Hit Parlay, which means it'll probably hit this time. 0-5 right now, but that's bound to change.
0-5.
It's a parlay.
Okay. 0-5 still sounds bad.
That's where the money line picks come in. You parlay money line.
Breech, I guess Brinson didn't know that. You should have told him. He's the expert.
Oh my God, I hate both of you so much.
Is that because you're in last place and both straight up and against the spread?
My last place against a straight up too?
No, I think I'm worse than you.
Really? How is that possible?
Let's
number one against the spread and last in straight up?
No, I'm not last.
I just looked right now. Wilson is 1 game ahead of Brinson straight up.
Ooh, I would hope so. He is 30. I can't stress this enough. He is 31 games above 500 against the spread. He is hitting 70% of his against the spread picks.
He's more games above 500 against the spread than he is straight up, which is like mind blowing.
I have 36 wins against the spread. Wilson is 31 games above 500 against the spread.
This is going to be tough. This week there's some tough games.
Brinson is trying to jinx you, man.
I'm not trying to. I mean, he's going to. Nobody hits 70% for the season. You still won't.
All right, if I hit 70% for the season, you have to shave your head.
Oh, that's tempting.
I can't believe
I gotta get something back.
You're hesitating. There's 0% chance.
There's not 0% chance.
What's the probability of me hitting 70% for the season, Breech? It's less than 5%.
He's gonna throw out a number. He has no clue.
12%.
No.
Way less.
It's like less than 2%.
Less than that.
Yeah.
It's like 0.5%.
And you won't do the bet. That's what
you're already more than 1/3 of the way through the season.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a better chance of me getting to 50-50 than a much better chance of me getting 50% than 70%.
Wilson is accidentally nuclear right now, and he's right at 70%. continuing to hit 70% would be incredible. I hope you do. And I hope
it would be easier for me as a 48-year-old to go play for the Boston Red Sox next season and hit 400.
Yeah, well, that's not quite, but yes, I see your point. Have you started getting tweets from people who are asking?
Getting a lot of followers and getting.
Oh yeah, it happens. I've gotten hot at like the end of seasons, and people are like, you get these like tweets and DMs are like, hey, who you like this Thursday? And you're like, whoa, are you?
I told you I got a DM from our coworker who's like, oh, are you plus EV? I'm like, dude. First of all, I had to Google what that meant.
What is EV?
I know what it means in economics terms. I was like, I actually told him, look, man, I said I'm the squarest guy here. And I gave him my betting strategy that I explained at the top of the podcast.
You're like, somebody sends me an email. I think about the games
for literally 90 seconds.
I pick the games and
don't look back. I'm done Tuesday.
Yes. JB out west in the YouTube chat says, I feel like these guys are getting super loose with their math odds. Yes. Wilson is actually has a master's in some kind of math from Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah, stats and econ. But
on a scale of 1 to 10, Wilson is the 10, the math guy here. Brinson's the 1, and I'm like a 3.
I think you're better than 3.
No, I'm better at math than you are, Breech.
Are you kidding me? You would have a math beat
you just
right
said
now?
There's a 12% chance that Wilson could hit 70% of his
He's already
picks.
1/3 of the way through the season.
What does that have to do with 12%? Give me the math on that.
You want the math on that?
Yeah, I'd love the math on that.
Well, we're not starting at the beginning. We're starting all the way through.
I'd like anything reasonably explanatory about what you're trying to say.
Wait, let me ask you. This is going to go nowhere. I want to ask you this. So, Breech, who wins in a math counts / tennis Olympics between you and Brinson?
I would put Brinson to shame.
It's a sweet. No,
all right,
killing him.
So, Debo, come with the math questions. We can find.
I will bring Robbie will out math Breech. I'm confident in that.
Breech is
laughing. My 7-year-old son will do better in math than Breech.
All right, you don't sleep on Breech.
Breech types, hunts, and pecks while he types.
That's because I'm thinking about math, so I can't type so fast.
That's worse. Why are you thinking about math while you're trying to write?
Breech is pretty modest, and he just said he would mop the floor with you in the math tennis.
He always says that. All right, are we getting out? What are we doing here?
I know we're arguing about math.
All right. I'm going to fire math questions at you as you guys play a tennis match versus.
That's actually, I mean, we keep this going. I don't care. Are we supposed to keep going? What do you want, Diva?
Sure, Diva's got to go.
I like hanging, but
let's hang. I got nothing to do. I want to see the end of this baseball game.
Couple minutes. Hit us. Hit us up.
They brought the Dodgers brought in Max Scherzer to close Game 5 of the NLDS, which is pretty. I mean, I don't know why. This is like talking math to Breech. He just doesn't get. You don't get it. Doesn't understand what I'm saying. Who's Max Scherzer?
As someone noted to me,
crazy eyes.
People listening to this podcast already know how the baseball game ends, so I don't know if it makes sense for you to keep talking about it.
That sucks. Does that mean it's the Giants don't win?
Maybe
I pause. I don't know.
You have to wait till tomorrow when you listen to it.
Oh, right. Yeah, that is. Yeah, no help on the baseball thing. We need to do some of these live streams during the end of these games. Like, what was the game? The Bengals, was it Bengals Packers? Where I chatted to you. I was like, should we go live right now? Just to
that was the set. Oh no,
we did Bengals Steelers last year when Breech was supposed to. That was actually quite exciting and very, very depressing for me.
Do people in the chat want to see us do live streams of end of like exciting games, especially those that feature
wearing our Brinson Sucks hats?
People panicking, a la Breech panicking as his team melts down and loses because his kicker can't make a kick.
You guys want to see a wager or something of the sort?
We got to figure out if you replace Benson as host, I will tattoo Benson Sucks on my ass.
That's Chuck P.
I'm actually tempted to quit my job just to F up Chuck's life. Make him explain why he's got Benson Sucks on his ass every time his ass is out in the public. Nobody like that? Okay, all right. I have a spiteful
Pick 6 biathlon with sprinting, racing, and tennis.
Are you faster than Brinson, Breech?
I don't know. I'm old. I got a kid. I'm running around chasing an 18-month-old.
That's the one you don't take?
Well, I mean, I feel like yes, but I'm not as confident.
I would need substantial training time.
Yeah.
Brinson brags about playing tennis every time he talks, but that's the one you're going to beat him in tennis. But racing, you're not worried. You're worried about racing.
I feel like those are clearly, obviously different. All right, let's get back to football here. What else do you like this weekend, Wilson?
Oh, let's see what I got here. We all three of us. I'm looking at our picks on the picks page. You can see on CBSSports.com. NFL picks experts.
That's it.
Experts in quotes. Yeah, right. We all like Jacksonville to cover. I think Breech said he picks them to win over Miami in London. For some reason, Breech. I understand Brinson in this road chalk business. Breech likes the Lions to cover 3.5, getting 3.5 at home against the Bengals. What's the math there, Breech?
Look, the Bengals have played 5 games this season. 4 of them have been decided by exactly 3 points. So the math is it's probably gonna be a 3-point game. So, and it's a 3.5 point spread. I'm going Lions to cover, Bengals to win.
And Brinson, what's your road chalk theory?
Well, there's the, if we look at these games, there
Brinson's
was
under 500. I don't know if we should listen to his theories.
All right, moving on.
Dunk button.
Ho, ho, ho! Up high, down hard. So Buccaneers minus 6.5. The theory is this: last week the public won big on NFL, and this week there are Bucs at Eagles. I mean, I guess we count Miami at Jacksonville, Cincinnati at Detroit, Green Bay at Chicago, KC at Washington, Rams at Giants. Now Minnesota is actually is a favorite too. Excuse me. Minnesota at Carolina is a favorite. Dallas at New England, and Buffalo at Tennessee. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of 14 games. 8 of 13 if you want to take out the Jacksonville Miami game in London. 8 of 13 games where the road team is favored in the NFL, where crazy stuff happens. This feels like a chaos weekend.
Yeah,
and I want to be on the dogs.
That's fine. Yep. So you got the Bears. Breech and I are on Green Bay at minus 4.5 on the road in Chicago. We already talked about Houston.
I actually don't like the Bears in that game.
But you're sticking with your theory.
Yeah, but I'm not. Don't feel good. Aaron Rodgers is 20-5 against the Bears in his career.
I like Washington to cover last week. Who did Washington play last week and played like dog doo against
Saints?
Yeah, and that was in Washington. So I feel like Kansas City is going to get
their Sean Taylor jersey stuff.
That's great.
They announced it on Thursday.
Oh, but
then the team president finally came out and apologized during the Thursday night game when no one would see it. Oh, did we plan this? Was this too short-sighted? We didn't give you enough.
God. Did we not
announce this stuff in the off season so that people can plan around it, and they announced it 3 days.
You know what Jason Wright should have said? He should have said, "I sent it in the email, but the NFL is still looking at it."
Of course, then like an hour later, the guy he replaced, Bruce Allen, it was like Bruce Allen cozy with Jeff Pash of NFL, which I mean, surprise.
But yeah, so after last week's performance, when I like Washington to win that game and they didn't show up, I think Kansas City is going to be angry about the way they played. I think they're going to come out and just light them up. Breech agrees with me. Brinson's on Washington. We all like the Chargers in Baltimore. They're getting 3 points. Like, I don't like this game could go either way. There's going to be 100 points scored.
Shootout.
Yeah, but I don't know. Anyone can win that game because there's not going to be zero defense. Breech is the only one. No, Breech and I both like the Rams giving 10.5 on the road to the Giants. I think that Brinson, you're on New York. I think Daniel Jones is going to play, but he's clearly going to be groggy because he got his bell rung last week. Saquon will not play, which isn't a surprise after he turned his ankle. You just mentioned Carolina. Brinson, you and I both like Carolina. Breech is on Minnesota at -1 on the road for the Vikes. We all like the Browns at home against Arizona, and I think the thinking is that this isn't really a 5-0 team. And
Chandler Jones is going to be out. Kyler Murray's shoulder's hurt.
Oh, his shoulder is hurt.
There's going to be
and the Cardinals have the 5th worst rushing defense in the NFL.
And the Browns have the best rushing offense in the NFL. And more importantly, 20-mile-per-hour winds in that game.
Which is great news because Baker doesn't have to throw the ball. I don't know.
Under. They're going to feed the run game. It's going to go under. The Browns are going to cover.
Okay, so we're all on the Cleveland bandwagon. Breech and I like the Cowboys at -4 on the road in Foxborough. Brinson sticking to his theory. He's taking the Mac Joneses. I feel like that game could get away pretty early. I love the way that the Cowboys are playing. So what else? Oh, I think this is going to be a reverse dump your coach change the scenery situation with John Gruden now gone. I think that the Raiders are going to bounce back. Although, and I think Josina talked about this on the podcast, and we've heard other people talk about it. A lot of Raiders players like John Gruden. Like the John Gruden, the person, wasn't the same John Gruden sending those crazy emails to Bruce Allen. That said, Carl Nassib asked for a personal day. He came out as gay over the summer. John Gruden supported him, and then after all the emails came out, he asked for a personal day. And
by the way, Derek Carr also said, I am trying not to drift away from football and think about.
Dude. Yeah, love the man, hate the actions, or something. I think is what he said.
He said, "Love the man, hate the sin." Yeah.
Hey, okay, yeah. So, Breech and Brinson, like Denver, giving 3.5 at home.
The number not moving is very weird, though.
You know, what do you do? I don't know which way is it going.
But like, why is a quarterback is worth 3 points or 4 points, but the head coach and play caller is worth nothing. I mean, I don't know.
He was sort of an impediment more than anything. I am the only person among all the CBS Sports experts who likes Seattle to cover the 4.5.
Because you're a Steelers fan. Steelers reverse jinx. You do this every week.
I've
seen enough.
You do that every week.
Steelers offense is doo-doo. I know Seahawks defense is straight up.
I'm not sure if you're aware, the Seahawks are starting Geno Smith.
The Seahawks defense is on track to give the most yardage in NFL history. Even the Steelers can move the ball in then.
All right, let me ask you this. What's the over-under, Brinson? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I can tell you that it is.
And then are you taking
Sunday Night Football? It's 43, a robust number.
Are you taking the over?
No, absolutely.
Thank you. That's my point, Breech. If the Seahawks defense is so terrible, you should be banging the over.
That number should be 7.
Why would I bang the over? So if the Steelers are, instead of scoring 9 points, are going to score 19. That doesn't mean bang the over.
Okay. I'm not sure that math checks out either, but I'm.
Yeah.
Well, the point is that it's not like the Steelers are going to go out and score 40 points because the Seahawks defense is horrible.
And then finally,
wait, hold on.
I don't engage. He's drunk. It's not worth it.
See, but this is BS. This is where Breech. You're like, Breech is good at math. No, Breech just says
That's
stuff.
Why I want to move on.
No, are you kidding me? They scored 17, 10, 17, and 27. They're averaging like 19 points a game in their last 4 weeks.
Which is why I picked the Steelers to not cover the game.
Well, I'm telling Brinson, so against a bad defense, maybe they score like 27 points. They're not going to score 30 or 40.
They are not scoring 27. And finally, on Monday night, we all agree Bills are blasting the doors off the Titans. 5.5. The Titans are getting. I don't think Titans are a bad football team. They lost to the Jets. They didn't play well last week against the Jaguars, and I don't think that's changed anytime soon.
I'm never reading YouTube. I'm reading these YouTube comments. I'm never reading these again. You people are weird and savage. Yeah, they're lashing at me.
They've been pretty nice.
These are you nice?
Yeah.
Debo's seen some things.
This is nice.
Yeah, what was we did the emergency podcast. Debo said that.
First of all, I'm a Waffle House man, not a pancake house, and it's International House of Pancakes. Let's show some respect.
It's IHOP.
It looks
it's not Pancake House.
Yeah. I love that you look better than only half the people at the Pancake House.
Yeah, half the people. Yeah, well, checks out.
It checks out.
All right, you know what? All right, we're done. We're done here.
All right, so come back on Monday night to see, or Sunday night to see. Oh my God! Like I honestly am concerned about
Steelers Seahawks.
Yeah, well, I'm more concerned about whether I'm going to have 3 wins by then.
Oh, man, if you're like 3-11 on Sunday night,
you'll be so happy.
Oh, thanks, JB. I appreciate that. People, my podcast brings many people joy. I feel good about that. It is.
Take it.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Even if we're done, if you haven't hit the like button yet, it is right there. The only excuse not to hit the like button is that you are like me, permanently banned from YouTube for some reason. And you can't press it on your desk, on your laptop or desktop. So press it, and we'll be back tomorrow. Of course. Why do you keep jamming that damn hat in the?
Ignore him. He's like a kid needs attention.
Friday, we got the Picks Pod with me, RJ, and Prisco. And then we'll be back on. Oh, and there's a Josina Anderson podcast in the feed. We'll be back on Sunday night to recap all of Week 6. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you folks later.